creative world here on Channel Africa. You know, when you hear a story of a child waking up in the morning, having to boil water outside in the fire in order to take a bath to go to school, and then having to walk about an hour or two past a river and hard terrain to get to school, we think this is a story of our mothers and our great grandmothers. Whereas in this African continent, in 2026, it is very well a story of young people living in this time and day and age. Education is often described as a pathway to opportunity, but for many that journey has never been easy. And across many communities on the African continent, especially in rural areas, to education can mean traveling long distance, navigating difficult conditions, and overcoming barriers that go far beyond the classroom. These are the realities that are explored in the new exhibition at the University of South Africa's Art Gallery, featuring the work of acclaimed South African artist and writer Peter E. Clarke. It's titled, for some, The Pathway to Education Lies Between Thorns. And the traveling exhibition brings together Clarke's linocuts, woodcuts, paintings, and watercolor drawings to reflect on themes of education, spatial inequality, and social justice. Joining us on the line is Curator Chepape Makgato. Thank you so much for joining us to speak about this, Chepape.
Thank you so much, Palesa, and good morning to your viewers at home.
You know, these are stories that we hear very often in our communities. They're not far-fetched at all, and that they're not just from the olden days. They are from these days. It's always beautiful to see how art can become or is a direct reflection of society, even the parts of society that we try so hard to ignore.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. This exhibition really speaks to what is happening today, or what has been happening throughout generations. And the title is drawn from the work that was conceived in 2008. Actually was created in 2008, but it was conceived many years before by the late Peter E. Clarke. So it still holds resonance with the challenges that many children are facing, even the youth, and the path to education in South Africa in general. It is difficult for people who are from the margins of the economic privileges in the country.
You know, I'm looking at some of this work. We see what is reflected like young children going to school, many without a real school bag that we know children should have. There's a girl carrying books on her head. There's one carrying their books in a plastic bag. And they are walking on a practically real thorny path as they walk to school. These are in our communities. Let's speak about how the artist always hopes to spark conversation about access and opportunities in our communities.
Yes, Peter Clarke's work speaks to a variety of topics, and in particular, the title of this exhibition is drawn from the description of image that you are highlighting. But when you look at his work, you can say that his career trajectory spanned different eras, because he practiced during apartheid and he was affected by the Forced Removals Group Areas Act. When he was a young artist or a young man, they were moved from Simonstown to Ocean View, and he lived to see the democratic South Africa. And in his work, the work captures those different moments in time. And when you look at the entirety of the exhibition, you have the oldest work that he has done in 1953, and the latest work that he has done in 2013, before he passed away the following year.
Mm-hmm. And how do you then web together this narrative that depicts this hard-hitting reality of inequalities of access to education?
I mean, we as a museum, remember the partnership that we have with UNISA Art Gallery. We are William Humphreys Art Gallery, one of the national national museums in the country. So our work is to try to share these stories that artists captured so well, so profoundly. And we see exhibition spaces as site of reflection, site of knowledge production, and site of knowledge consumption. So we are using the work that the artist created to spark this kind of conversations, and we with hope that those that are in power when it comes to maybe education, Department of Education, could really look at how this issue or these thorns that are really disturbing many children to access education, they could act on that and try to refine and relook at these challenges so that they sort of reduce them for free access to or maneuverable access to education as enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, rights to education.
This feels like a moment in time for you, Chepape, because this is your first curatorial project after being appointed as chief curator at the William Humphreys Art Gallery. Tell us a little bit about your fascination with Peter E. Clarke. You briefly spoke a little bit about who he was, but could you elaborate on his significance and your obsession?
Peter, I wouldn't call it an obsession, rather.
Sure.
I would say an inspiration.
Okay.
So my inspiration and the keen interest on Peter Clarke's work really emanates from the fact that Peter Clarke was not only a painter. He mastered the printmaking and different techniques within printmaking, which he really outdid himself when it comes to relief. Relief is a technique within printmaking, and he mastered the linocut color reduction, which include color, printing in color, which is a very laborious technique that most of us artists who are trained in printmaking, we sort of shy away from doing linocut color reduction because of its labor intenseness. But the thing that he was also a writer, it speaks to the whole idea that he moved towards actually expressing all the faculties of artistic creation that he had. Because normally, if you are an artist, you are comfortable being an artist only. But he went beyond that. He also wrote and he exchanged letters with prominent people such as Eskiam Pashele back during apartheid. And also he made also contact with Black American poet Langston Hughes. So he played a very critical role in the South African art sector way before this country could think of democracy as an achievement to have. So, and the fact that he mentored many people, including myself, it's very fundamental because he believed in sharing of knowledge. He believed in intergenerational conversations, and he loved education. Though the circumstances in which he grew up did not really permit him to access that education, but he consistently believed and encouraged younger generation, like my generation, to really go to school. And my fascination also about his work is because he affected the realities, day-to-day life of Black people in the country.
All right, we need to take a break. Stay on the line, Chepape. We want to find out a little bit more about this fascinating exhibition by Peter E. Clarke after the break.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa Tau on the move.
We're speaking art in the second hour of On the Move. Chepape Makgato is a curator of For Some, The Pathways to Education Lies Between Thorns, which is zooming into the works of South African artist and writer Peter E. Clarke. The exhibitions look at the physical and social barriers many people face in pursuing education, which is a reality Clarke had observed for many decades. We explored this work with Chepape Makgato today, and it is a very powerful subject matter. It's one that you would think by now in the South African context, as we move 30 years beyond our democracy, that it will be something that we've solved, we've consolidated, that we've strided to deal with. But those inequalities remain in far-flung parts of the country, but also in the urban areas. Education seems like a privilege of sorts. For you, what springs out for you when it comes to Peter E. Clarke's exploration of this subject matter?
I think the exploration of this subject matter in his work is very profound, because most of the works are inscribed with text, and most of the works that he has created seeks to encourage people to engage in on a journey of finding things that will educate them, not only education in a sense of classroom only, but to say constantly be in quest for knowledge wherever you go. And that's why he believed in traveling and reading books. And when during our mentorship process, when he was still alive, each time we speak, he would never hang up the phone without saying to me, "Chepape, remember to read, read, read." For him, reading was not only confined to reading to be tested for an exam or reading in the classroom, was also around people just really increasing their knowledge from books and from travels. And I think this exhibition, having first stage in 2023 at William Humphreys Art Gallery, traveling to Springs Art Gallery in 2024, and now here traveling to UNISA Art Gallery, it is very significant to his beliefs of traveling and constantly sharing his talent with the people. And the last leg that we had at Springs Art Gallery, we had young people really interacting with the exhibition and noting the importance of education as reflected in the exhibition. And this exhibition could be read as a sort of a mini retrospective, because the works spans decades. There are few pieces that represent each and every decade. So I would like to believe that people who will engage with this exhibition, there's a lot for them to take away from it.
You know, Chepape, the phrase that comes to my mind when I look at these pieces is that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And part of Peter E. Clarke's legacy essentially is that challenging complacency. Obviously, from this particular exhibition, we see the complacency of the government, whereas this is his reflection of what he saw earlier in his lifetime. But today, that still rings true. What do you think about these challenges that he puts to those he sees as complacent, and the affirming, of course, of resilience in the subjects that are part of this exhibition?
I think the exhibition also speaks to the youth, because the youth, they need to start leading from today. They shouldn't wait to lead in the future. So it's the kind of exhibition that poses a challenge to you to say, as you interact with the work, what are you doing in the kind of challenge that is posed by Peter Clarke on the idea of access to education? What are you doing as a leader in your community to encourage access to education? And what are we doing as museum practitioners to educate people about art? Are we gatekeepers of these cultural institutions that we believe they are just institutions for selected few? Or are we opening the door of education for the general public and citizens of the country to access education? Because education is not in the classroom only. This exhibition having to travel from Kimberley to now Pretoria as a museum, a national museum under Department of Sports and Culture, we are saying a person from Pretoria, they don't have to travel to Kimberley in order to enjoy the work of Peter Clarke, but they could have the work or the exhibition of Peter Clarke in their backyard around Tshwane. And we are very grateful that UNISA Art Gallery provided the opportunity for us to stage this traveling exhibition. And we hope that the exhibition will travel across the country because it deals with subject matters that are relevant, that are urgent, that must be addressed urgently.
We could unpack a lot around Peter Clarke in terms of his identity, his blackness, the fact that he originates from the Western Cape, and the fact that he's self-taught, and so many other nuances of his identity. But I think it's better for people to see this art for themselves. Where should they go if they want to embark on this experience?
They should come to UNISA Art Gallery here at Khorong, the UNISA main campus. And the exhibition is going to open tomorrow at 11:30, and it will continue to run until the 9th of April. And we hope that we'll get other places across the country to have this milestone exhibition. And in closing, I would say that we are privileged as a museum to be the custodian of this large number of work that spans a solo presentation, and we will continue to make our assets, our collection, to be enjoyed by the public and outside the confines of Kimberley, Northern Cape.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Where do we go online, maybe to make reference or maybe to find out more about the work that you do at the gallery?
You can visit UNISA Gallery pages on Facebook and Instagram. You can also do so following our pages, William Humphreys Art Gallery on Instagram and Facebook, and also you can follow our website, and others they can check the work or the exhibition as it travels, or the updates on the exhibition from the Curator's page, that is Chepape Makgato on Facebook and at Chepape the Great on Instagram.
Well, the Great has given us a great conversation to talk about. Thank you so much to you for having this conversation with us here on Channel Africa. That's Chepape Makgato, curator of For Some, The Pathway to Education Lies Between Thorns, which is a traveling exhibition that brings the work of Peter E. Clarke closer to us here in the Gauteng province. But it's 10:30 Central African time now. Sports time. Let's find out what Musibudi Makura has for us.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. A very good morning indeed from the sports desk. So RB Leipzig's Chief Business Officer, Johan